Hello, everyone. My name is Kent Bressler. I'm a registered nurse, and I'm also a patient advocate and the co-founder of a company called Kidney Solutions. 33 years ago, my brother saved my life. He gave me a living, related donor kidney, and for that I'm very grateful. When he did that for me, it set me to thinking that maybe I could do that for others. And that's really the mission of Kidney Solutions, is to meet you firsthand as a patient, to get you through finding a donor, and then being with you through the transplant process, and most important, being able to get you through keeping your kidney. We want that kidney healthy, and we want you healthy. I would like to introduce to you Grant Pearson and his sister, Vanessa Cox. They both participated in a transplant, and we're going to learn a little bit about that now.
So we were on a ski trip in New Mexico. I woke up in the middle of the night throwing up, had like flu-like symptoms throughout the night. I couldn't drink any water. I now know that my blood pressure was really high. So through that process, I ended up not being able to, ski while we were there. And once that kind of passed, then I was able to ski for 3 days. We got back home and I had blood work done, and we found out that I had kidney disease. So I went to a specialist and found out what kind of disease it was, and then we got put on medication, blood pressure medicine, and did a diet change, and we sustained that for 5 years. Yeah, so the doctor told me that I had kidney disease and I would need a transplant at some point. It could be a year, it could be 10 years. We didn't really know how it was all going to work out. So when I first went to the specialist, the nephrologist, she had told me that I needed to have a transplant at some point in life. We didn't know when that would be. So fast forward 5 years, and my filtration rate had dropped far enough to where I needed to get a transplant. And then I got referred to the transplant clinic in San Antonio, and the process started there. During that 5 years, closer to the end of the 5 years, my father-in-law had been talking with a guy at his work, and he had given him a brochure for Kidney Solutions. And so my father-in-law gave me a brochure for Kidney Solutions, and at that point I got in touch with Kent and discussed a lot of things, and Kent really helped me understand the process, built me up, encouraged me, and we moved on from there. So my sister was always involved. So from the beginning, my sister Vanessa had known that she'd wanted to give me a kidney if that time had come, or when that time had come.
So I remember the first day that he came home from the specialist and described that he had FSGS, which is a kidney disease, and eventually would need a transplant. So knowing that, I really didn't think about it again, knowing that someday, not knowing when, I would need to be tested to see if I was a match and if he would need me to give him my kidney. So I always knew that I would give him a kidney. However, understanding the process and where we needed to begin, I didn't really know those answers. So Grant introduced me through Kent to Amanda, who was a donor as well, and we had dinner one evening with my sister and myself and Grant, and she discussed the process, steps that we would have to take. She helped us understand what we would have to go through for testing and to see if who would be a match, if either one of us, if we even qualified to be a match. And so that dinner was very helpful and guiding us through the process of needing information on donor, transplant, and where we needed to take our next steps to. My biggest fear in this whole process was that Grant's body would reject my kidney. I wasn't concerned about the surgery. I wasn't concerned about the process. I was concerned that, and that I wasn't going to be a candidate to donate.
So the benefits of having a kidney transplant is, if you need a kidney, that is going to be, in my opinion, the only way to continue living life. If you go and have dialysis done, it's either temporary or it's only going to work for a little while, and you can do almost nothing else as far as provide for your family, spend time with your kids in a natural state. So by having the transplant, I'm able to be who I am. And I actually have more energy since I've had the transplant, and I'm able to go back to work. So those are all great things.
So as a nurse, I've had the opportunity to care for a lot of patients who had to go through dialysis, both peritoneal and hemodialysis, and the toll that it takes on them is huge, and it's exhausting and tired and stressful. And having that experience, I knew that I didn't want to see you or your girls go through that process, or have to experience you going through that. So the best outcome for me is that his girls and his wife and y'all didn't have to endure that. We were able to do a transplant quickly. We were very blessed in that. From the day of testing of myself and my sister to the day of transplant was exactly 30 days. So I think that was a huge success, and that you didn't have to experience that.
So the most important thing for me is to have a kidney transplant. If you need one, don't hesitate to get one. Find a living donor, get the transplant done, and then for me, I'm just so thankful for my sister who donated her kidney to me without hesitation, and I'm able to live a normal life because I got a living donor transplant.
My advice to future donors or anybody who is thinking about being a donor is to not be afraid of it. God gave us 2 kidneys and we can live with 1. And I think that He gave us 2 for these special circumstances, that when we come across somebody we know or we don't know, and we have the ability to give them life and quality of life, I think that that's a gift that we're able to give. So through the help of Kidney Solutions and the support given through them, it was a breeze, and I didn't second guess any part of it. It flowed. So I say get somebody in your court like Kidney Solutions to support you through it. It's not a hard journey. It's easy, and I don't regret any bit of it.
So I have 2 sisters, and I originally asked both of them if they were willing to donate, and of course they both said yes. And so we all 3 went to the first appointment together to
get tested, and
they were getting
to see
tested.
if we would be able to be candidates for donation.
Yeah. So they were doing my initial process as well. So we each had our processes we were going through, and
Yeah, we just made a day out of it. We all went up there on the same day, and they called Monica back, our sister, individually. They called me back individually, and then he went all by himself with your wife, but with Laura. But they kept us separated. But we got through it that whole day together. Came out that Monica wasn't a candidate, which crushed her. She was devastated because she was 100% willing, and we both were, I guess you can say in a sense, fighting over it. And, we were competitive and who could give him a kidney. And so when she found out that she couldn't, it was heartbreaking for her. he and I talk a lot about God's timing and reasonings and how things happen in life. And we were born so close together that I think even back when God was forming us in our mother's womb, that he knew that he was going to have kidney disease and he was going to have a need. And so he knew that my kidney was going to match. Right?
Yeah. So you're saying that God created you to fix me?
He did. And I'll be here for the rest of the time that you need fixing.
Perfect.
I love you.
I love you too.
I always tell people that I don't call to check on him. I call to check on my kidney. Make sure he's taking care of it. Right?
That is correct. I have a new kidney and I'm able to live.
You can make a difference in someone's life. Help us continue mentoring by donating to Kidney Solutions.
Do you ever think about what life would be like if you didn't get a transplant?
No.
Then I don't have anything else. Wasn't what I was expecting.
That's the truth.
That was a great lead-in.
I was giving him something.